We are not alone in all these days when trouble is all around us. We're going to start our service this morning by singing the hymn number 73, Holy, Holy, Holy.
Smiles in everyday life. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Be seated. Today we will continue with our personal stories, and I must be honest, for the last week I was thinking about a story that our brother Daryl was telling us, and every now and then I was thinking about that poison food. It's very exciting for me to hear that. Today we have our Lldy Tokics, and she's going to share with us her story.
Thank you very much in advance for listening. It was a great honor when I was asked to share my story, so thank you. This is my story. I was raised in a non-Adventist family. One can say not even in a church-going Christian family. Although the main characteristics of all my family members were frankness, fairness, empathy, and sensibility. So this was the environment where I grew up with my sister. Yet we all know that the times come when children want to discover the world, the big life itself for themselves. They seek for the meaning of things, the point of being here, in the specific family, in the specific people, or among the people they got to know so far. This was the main point of my sister's search too, while she was visiting different denominations, when she finally ended up at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Miskolc, northern part of Hungary. It is a kind of small church there. I was not a non-believer, yet did not think God at all. I remember seeing my sister's face every Sabbath she came home for lunch, and she was so delighted relaxed, and in an unexplainable good mood that I have to tell the truth, she made me not only surprised by that, but a little bit annoyed. What is the reason being so smiley all the time? What is all behind? These were the questions I was saying to myself. But I still didn't show any interest in what she had done there or what exactly had been going on in the church. Nevertheless, she invited me to join this group of people from time to time, and I started to feel quite frustrated, giving her always some kind of excuse and feeling sorry for rejecting her so many times. I once decided to go to church with her. I remember I had to put on smart clothes, a smart dress, though everyone knew I was a jeans-wearing type of girl, and I had to take my Bible with me. I felt a bit uncomfortable for the first time. I saw the way of liturgy. I looked at people's behavior and found everyone really kind, but I couldn't recall too much of the service, except everyone talked about God. I didn't care much about any of it. It was kind of more of an obligation task to please my sister. Once I did it, and it was completed, so I didn't need to do anything else with it. Years went by, and I started to live the life of an average teenager, like going to parties, getting to know other type of people than the ones I used to associate with. At that time, I listened to rock music and its alternatives a lot. And as we all know, music has a great impact on people's lives, and it had on me too. I got to love one band's music so much that I became a real fanatic about it. I did my best to obtain all of their music. I learned all their lyrics by heart, probably more than 100 songs. I looked out for the people who liked my band also, and I sought for boys who, in their appearance, resembled the look of the leading man of the band. I was in awe of the band and of the leader, until the day when the frontman committed suicide, and I collapsed. This made me dig even deeper into the history of the band. I tried to find reasons for such tragedy. Why might people commit suicide? In the meantime, I went on to the Teachers Training College in Budapest, the capital of Hungary. My friends were mostly from a group of people who had the same interests and same tastes in music as I did. I was really interested in the counterculture of the 1960s, the hippie era, and the Eastern religions like Buddhism. I went to pubs in the evenings, drank alcoholic beverages, stayed out late, and slept at newly made friends' house or places. At the time, I lived in a rented flat with my sister, who every time I left for a party or for a pub, would always say to me, "Please take good care of yourself. I will pray for you. Don't be out too late." And one morning, as I woke up in a quite unfamiliar flat, I started to feel that this was not the real me. As I was looking around the room, it was fully packed with sleeping, drunken teenagers, and I was thinking, I wasn't raised like a hippie. I felt that I was not part of these people, and I didn't belong to them. I don't belong to this. This isn't what I wanted to be. I became desperate, and I really longed to find my place among the right people. But how do I find them, and who are the right people? A few days later, my sister's wedding day came, and I was the bridesmaid. The new pastor had just moved to my beloved hometown, Miskolc, and his son was to be the driver of the wedding car. When we first met, he tried to impress me, and in some way he did. But the most important thing was that he showed real interest in the questions that bothered me at the time. He and his friend had a really long night talk with me, covering almost all the topics I cared for. We kept talking until early morning in our family garden, and somehow they gave all the comforting answers to me, so that I started to feel myself balanced, more balanced than ever before. Of course, they invited me to church too, and at this time I did go not only because of an obligation or feeling sorry for my resistance, but because of anticipation, how God would send me his message there. I noticed young people there too, and I really had a good time this time. Later in the summertime, the pastor's son invited me to an Adventist camp near the Lake Balaton, which is called the Hungarian Sea. It was there at this camp that the pastor's son and I fell in love with each other. Later I got to learn that while I was searching to find the people I belonged to and the right place in the world, he had been praying to God to have him find the right partner for his life. And a year later we were both baptized. I really praise God for how hard and patiently he worked for me through these wonderful people. My family, who raised me with a good example. My sister and my husband, who prayed so much for me. Our God did not rush me, but waited for me despite all my resisting him for so long. Let's never give up praying for each other, because this is what saved me and helped me to find God. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lldy. I think we all agree that we are blessed every Sabbath with these wonderful stories. As you know, the collection of 48 testimonies that we had last year is published. If you would like one for yourself or as gifts, please see me. Last week we had 2 examples of what this book is doing for people who have not been here and how they reacted. One of the ladies that is a member of the church, but for a couple of years now can't come because she's not well. I went and gifted her the book, and she wrote to me that that night was a particularly difficult night physically for her, and that she grabbed the book and she came to page 111 or something and was really lifted up. I also gave this book yesterday to my lovely new friends who come to church who would not want to hear or talk about God until this July ever. And she said she's crying and she will read every word of it. And I do pray that maybe next year she will give her testimony and we'll put it in the book. Now be blessed wherever you widely sit and have a lesson.